Just a quick warning before I start this video, there is some graphic personal content that I'm gonna cover in it, so viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. What's up my friends? Welcome to another video. I'm Stuart and I'm here to help you get your skin and your overall health back on track. So for almost 4 years, I haven't touched beans pretty much at all. And as you guys have probably noticed, I'm going through a phase on YouTube where I'm testing foods in front of you guys so that you guys see both my skin and biomarker reaction and what I do and how I deal with it. In today's video, I'm gonna be testing beans. I'm gonna eat beans and I'm gonna see what it does to me after 4 years of not eating beans. I wasn't expecting the outcome to happen, which did. It was very surprising for me, and I think you guys are gonna be a little bit surprised by it as well. Or maybe you won't be. Maybe it'll be absolutely no shock to you at all. So the beans that I chose to eat was kind of a custom bean salad made for me by a friend. And just before all of you plant-based and vegan bean lovers start to attack me, everything was soaked, everything was sprouted, and these are pre-digested, perfectly by the book beans. In here in this bean salad, we have green beans, which are kind of a bean, and we have these delicious kidney beans, which I used to eat all the freaking time. But as you can see, this container was just a little bit, it was probably 3/4 of the way full, and that's all that I ate. So not very much beans at all. During the course of this experiment, during the day that I was eating these beans, I was eating them sporadically with meals. So it wasn't like I just had a huge bean burrito or a whole plate of beans. I had probably half a cup to maybe a cup at most of this properly prepared bean salad. So I just wanted to give you guys the data on what beans I was eating and how much. So I used to wake up every single morning, somewhere between 3:30 and about 5 o'clock at the latest, having a severe anxiety attack. Well, I thought it was an anxiety attack, but it turns out that it was really just an extreme, crazy digestional issue. This was a daily occurrence and it was absolutely horrible. The thing is though, as soon as I went to the bathroom and took my big dump in the morning, the anxiety was gone. So there is a huge connection between your gut biome, your gut brain, your emotional body, and your stress response. So luckily, I wasn't suffering from any kind of anxiety disorder or stress-related post-traumatic syndrome or anything like that. It just had to do with eating the wrong foods and not having a healthy digestion. During that time, and for those of you who don't know, I grew up in San Diego. I lived there for 35 years of my life. And in that culture, we eat a ton of Mexican food. And I was no different. I was eating a lot of bean and cheese burritos, a lot of bean burritos, lots of beans and rice, lots of beans. I was eating Mexican food almost every single day. Probably not every single day, but often. I would say minimum 4 times a week. In the past 6, 7, 8 years, I haven't had that anxiety belly in the morning, except for the other day. The day after I had that small amount of beans, I woke up at 4 a.m. and surprisingly, I kind of had forgotten the old morning ritual of waking up thinking I'm having an anxiety attack, trying to figure out what's going on, and then taking a poop and feeling fine. So it was a crazy experience. I woke up, I felt super anxious. It felt like something was wrong. I checked my phone to see if someone had texted me to tell me something happened with a family member. I got on my emails and then I was like, oh, wait a second. It's 4 a.m. and I have to take a dump so bad. Typically, I don't take my morning poop until like 6 or 7 or sometimes even 7:30. So that was result number 1 from eating a small amount of beans, is that I was absolutely tore up in the morning, 4 a.m., having that old anxiety belly. It was horrible, but luckily it went away after my poop. But honestly, that was the least of my problems from eating the beans the day before. So my current diet, it's really based around animal fats, animal proteins, very well chosen plant veggies. I have a very small amount that works really well for me, and I don't really eat much else besides those plant foods, and a little bit of fruit. That combination of food works awesome for me, and my daily poop routine is I wake up, I go to poop, and it's really easy. There's no stress, there's no bad smells, there's not much wiping. It's one and done, and I'm pretty much done for the day. So let's take a look at the day of pooping after I had the small amount of beans. Well, it was just like my vegan days. It was just like my pre-skin health days. I was pooping probably 5 times, and every time I went to the bathroom, it was messy, it was smelly, it was uncomfortable, and it felt incomplete every single time. So I'd go to the bathroom, a couple hours later, I felt like I'd have to go to the bathroom again. So I'd go to the bathroom, a couple hours later, I'd have to go to the bathroom again. But that wasn't even the worst part. Here's the worst part about what happened. For 2 days afterwards, so the entire day after I ate the beans, and then the following day, I had a really itchy butthole. It was super weird, it was super uncomfortable. It felt similar to the early days of when I still had skin issues, and it was like that tingly, strange weirdness that pops up before a flare-up. Luckily, my skin wasn't affected at all. I think I have to damage my body pretty bad again to flip my skin back to where it was. But that little tingle and that constant itch in my colon and my butthole and in my lower intestines was a really, really bad sign. Quick caveat, my friends. I'm not saying in this video that beans will do this to everybody and that all people should avoid beans, but beans do have lectins and anti-nutrients and hard to digest fiber. And if beans are doing any of these things to you, it means that the beans are not working for you at all. With a proper diet, with a customized diet plan that works personally for you, your digestion should be easy. It should be kind of almost on a schedule. It shouldn't be labored. You shouldn't be going multiple times a day. One of the fallacies from the plant-based vegan community is that a lot of them are like, oh my God, I'm so regular. I pooped 9 times a day or 5 times a day or 4 times a day. If you go to a gastro doctor and you tell them that you're pooping 5 times a day, they're gonna literally mark IBS, leaky gut, for sure. Now, if you poop a little bit more than the average person, but your poops are nice and clean and healthy and there's no strain and it's not smelling bad and wiping's easy, then you're probably okay. Needless to say that the day that I was eating the beans and the day after I was eating the beans, I had a tremendous amount of urgles, burgles, farts, tutti fruttis, and I was a trumpet booty for sure. And the smell of them was really different than when I occasionally fart or when I occasionally burp. It was just gross. My body was obviously not responding well to eating beans. Another strange symptom that occurred for almost 3 days after eating the beans was some pretty major brain fog. I was going to do my normal work. I was trying to create videos and the synapses were just not firing. I felt very slow. I felt very foggy. And luckily that lifted as well after about 2 to 3 days, like I said. Scary thing is, guys, is this is from eating a small amount of beans one time. And imagine for my customized diet, if I was told that beans were super healthy and that that was a food that would help me heal my skin, and I was eating beans on a daily basis, think about how horrible I would feel. In fact, I know how horrible I feel because I used to eat beans all the time. And the results were, as I was talking about in this video, anxiety, belly in the morning, pooping all the freaking time, gas and bloating, brain fog. So here's the take home of this video. Number 1, you have to customize your diet, you have to test foods, and you have to be honest with your biomarker signals, your biofeedback, your digestion, your sex drive, your sleep, your ability to focus. When a food can consistently or acutely do what beans did to me, that food is not gonna be a good food for you. So that was my results from eating a very small of well prepared. And again, I wanna highlight this because I know some of you vegans and plant-based folks out there who wanna defend beans, even though why would you defend any food? It's all about customizing and personalizing. What works for me may not work for you, and what doesn't work for me may work for you. So, but anyway, my point is that what most plant-based and vegan agenda people will fight me on is you have to prep your beans correctly. Well, these were prepped by one of my vegan friends who is a caterer, who is a custom chef, and they were soaked and they were sprouted and they were combined with the proper other types of beans in the best way she knows how. So I did address that in this video. It's not like I was going to the supermarket and buying some crappy ass refried beans and eating them out of a can in large amounts. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Again, if you're looking to get a hold of me to become one of my skin health clients, there's a link in the description box for all my offerings, a consult, the 3 Phases Workbook, which is the step-by-step guide for customizing your diet, cleansing, and lifestyle to heal your skin. And then last but not least, there is a link for Skinessa, which is the probiotic that I use. Most of my clients use it too. It really works great. Best of luck to you guys on your healing journey. Leave your comments and questions down below. I might have said that. Sometimes I say it twice because I still have brain fog from the beans. I'll be back with many more videos really soon. Peace, much love.